Good evening. Today is Tuesday, April 11th, 2023 at 7 p.m. I now call this Fairfield Township Board of Trustees meeting to order. Ms. Schultz, will you call the roll, please?
Trustee Birdie?
Present.
Trustee Harkemeyer?
Here.
Trustee McAdie?
Here. We have the invocation from Pastor Cecil Day from the Lighthouse Baptist Church.
Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunity to be together, especially for community to save for your wisdom. Thank you, Lord, for the leadership that we have, Lord, for being here. Father, just with your presence, know my heart to save and respect and
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Day. Okay, the first item on the agenda is presentations, but we don't have any this evening, so we'll move on to old business. And the first item for old business is the compensation study. Turn over to Administrator Barnhart.
Thank you. At the last meeting, there was discussion about reaching out to jurisdictions in the area in Butler County, comparable places, and Chuck has been working on that. He has heard from 21 of 22 jurisdictions, and I was going to turn it over to Chuck to report on what you'd like to share.
Thank you. Yeah, so as Julie mentioned, 21 of the 22 jurisdictions have responded. I provided the list of jurisdictions that we reached out to all of you. Right now, I'm at the point where I'm just compiling all the data for all the non-union positions and coming up with all the averages and things like that at this point. We plan to meet later this week to review all that information, put together an impact of potential increases, and we'll provide that to the board either late this week or early next week is our goal. So it's going well.
Yeah, just so Mr. Goins and Ms. Vonnevar and I met soon after our last trustee meeting. We compiled a list of the jurisdictions that we thought would be comparable, and we set deadlines for those jurisdictions, and surprisingly, they all came in well ahead of time, and we were giving them like 60 days to respond, and they responded immediately. So looking forward to meeting with Mr. Goins and Mrs. Vonnevar on Friday just to kind of see what that would look like, and then hopefully sometime maybe early next week or whatever it can be shared with the board, and then we can discuss it at the next trustee meeting. Okay. Any questions? Okay. Thank you very much. The next item is the hot mix transporter. Mr. Bennett.
Yes, at last meeting we were given some incorrect information as far as a possible purchase of a hot mix transporter. We have since reached out to Southeastern and found that this item that they have priced for us is it's called Sourcewell. It's equivalent to, when we spoke with Larry, equivalent to state purchasing pricing. Do you want me to go into detail about it right now?
Sure.
So the one that we originally got from the last meeting was $52,000. Like I said, that was some incorrect information. It was not a contract price. So the one from Southeastern is, as I mentioned, the Sourcewell contract. It comes in total amount of $37,755. My reasoning for us to ask for a hot box is hot box trailers make it easy for work crews to repair and patch asphalt as well as fixing potholes. A hot box and recycler allows workers to transport both hot and cold mix while keeping it at optimal temperature during the day and holding it overnight for up to 72 hours. You can also recycle asphalt chunks and millings and reclaim unused hot mix with the dual burner system. Around 20 to 30% of hot mix cools before it can be effectively used in patching operations, resulting in waste. Asphalt hot boxes have a one-piece ceramic combustion chamber that uses a diesel burner to heat and keep the asphalt to the optimal temperature. With this tool, we hope to reclaim the percentage of waste as well as increase the amount of additional repairs throughout township roadways. Anybody have any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Bennett? And Mr. Bennett, how does this fit into your budget for the year?
Fine. Yeah.
Is okay? It's
Yeah.
not something that would threaten?
No,
Okay.
no.
And then you talk about it's going to be more efficient for the
Right.
crew to be able
Yes.
to go out and repair.
Typically what we do is, say for instance, like in the wintertime cold patch mix, we do our best to try to keep it indoors. Basically what we're doing is we're putting, say, 5, 6, 7 bags of cold patch in the cab of the pickup truck, trying to keep it warm to get it out to whatever we may, have to patch. And then the same thing basically when we do hot mix, by the time, whether we're getting it from the place in Fairfield or the place up in Trenton, by the time we get it back, we have to try to work rather quickly, and sometimes, you can't get it down quick enough that you have to offload it off the truck, and that's the waste. A lot of these municipalities have them. We have rented one before in the past, and I just feel like it's a really good tool that we need to have. We bought the milling attachment and the infrared heater and stuff, and I had talked to Chuck this morning, and I really, really want to see us get into trying to do some more patchwork and stuff ourselves. So.
And I'm sorry, does this transporter have a milling thing? Because you said you could recycle the.
No, basically what it is, the milling attachment we had purchased for our Bobcat or skid steer. So basically you can chew up that material and you throw it into the hot box and it recycles it and makes it to where you can reuse it.
It saves some money on buying more aggregate.
Right, correct.
Sounds like it would help address some of the lateral issues on
That's
roads.
my main focus, yes.
Because some of them, they get gaps in them and then
Right,
now they're starting to fall apart,
right.
so. Okay. And then this is on the agenda for later on for approval if the
Correct.
trustees see. Okay.
Correct.
Any other questions for Mr. Bennett?
Thank you.
Okay. The next item is fire department staffing, May hiring. Chief Thomas?
So as you may recall, when we submitted the request to hire and had that discussion in February, part of that discussion was to add an additional 3 people in May. So we're bringing that back to the table. We do have candidates that have been interviewed and we have them ready to go. If we get approval, we'd be prepared to hire 3 additional full-time staff members in May.
So in the past, at the last meeting, you discussed hiring 3, the last meeting, and then would like to hire 3 more. We discussed that, but we didn't have a motion to approve that.
That's correct. The only motion that came across was the authorization to hire the 3.
Okay.
So
And so you have people that applied for the 3, and now you had 3, I guess, more qualified candidates for the first 3, but they are qualified candidates. And you have them in the pipeline ready to go.
Yes, we've already conducted all the interviews. The only thing left is to get authorization, and then we would make job offers to the top 3 on the list. And
And I'm sorry, I don't remember, I apologize. Are these 3 like in medic school or about to be? Help me remind me.
We are, and later in the agenda, you'll see there's scholarships for 4 to go to medic school. We just approved another person the last meeting for medic school, so that will give us 5 candidates that are going to medic school this year. So the intent is that we would be hiring them from within that group, most likely, and they would be required to become paramedics. So,
In our discussion last meeting, the true value of having full-time is that they're locked in here. They're not going to be part-time and they're full-time someplace else and we lose them here.
yeah, the amount of overtime that our part-timers who work full-time at other jobs, we have call-offs almost every day. So part of that is we have a much more stable workforce when it's full-time employees. They're permitted to work more hours, plus we can use overtime to bring them in. We can't really do that with the part-time, so.
So there would be some overtime savings by having full-time, but then there's the expense of the benefits.
Yes.
Question on the board?
So tonight you want us to authorize 3 additional positions?
Yes, sir.
And then again, just so I'm clear, the people that we're gonna accept their application for the paramedic school, they're currently hired with us now?
Everybody that's on the scholarship program is already a part-time employee, yes.
And, you know, where would be the dedicated revenue stream to pay for the 3 we've already hired and the next 3?
So
Do you have a suggestion for that?
yes, the first 3 that we hired, we actually had already added that to our budget, so they were funded out of the public safety levy.
Okay.
We currently have carryover within the fire and EMS accounts of approximately $700,000. We're going to use some of that for the scholarships, but there would be enough to fund that. And then as we make it through 24, then the anticipation is that the TIF and JED money are going to be part of that unless we decide to do a levy. So we've talked in depth about the need to make stable funding. As the loans are paid off, the money becomes available in the TIF and JED accounts, and we're forming new ones and bringing in more money. But it's going to require a commitment from those funds if we do not go after a levy to fully absorb within the fire budget. So we would depend on money from the public safety levy and eventually from either the general fund or the TIF and JED accounts.
So again, it's $40,000 for the 4 paramedics tonight, and you said there's a balance of $700,000, so there's plenty of room to hire 3 additional people.
That is correct.
At 110 apiece, or?
Current is about 110,000, which includes their benefit package. In September, that will go up by a few percent because of the raises in the contract. So.
And the 3 you're gonna hire or asking us to hire next month would be, and I'm not sure if I've heard the answer, EMTs?
They are currently firefighter 2 EMTs. They will be required to become paramedics as part of their full-time job offer.
And then we would in turn offer them a scholarship.
These are the group that we're sending contains the numbers of folks that we would hire.
So we're offering the scholarship to part-time people now, and that's the ones which is what we've been doing, I think, hiring those.
Correct. And we've also applied for, as directed by the Board of Trustees, we've applied for another SAFER grant. We anticipate hearing that answer by the end of September this year. And that would be the remaining 3 positions of the 9 that we tried to get if we were successful with those. And then we would, again, be looking at the people that were sent into medic school to fill those positions.
And I know we talked about the 2 years out when the debt's paid off, 3 years, whatever that is.
They have a 5-year commitment with us if they
Right.
accept our scholarship.
Yes. And they're, they do that, they're off duty, right? I mean, as far as work goes and school.
It goes back and forth depending on the schedule. We can't really control the schedule that the schools put out. But the full-time folks, we're trying to work with the union to address their training requirement is time and a half for all those school hours that are off duty. And I'm trying to negotiate with them to see if they'll cut us a break here with just to try and ease the pain of trying to get paramedics, because the job market just doesn't have paramedics. Part of that's the pay that we pay, and part of that is just everybody around us that's hiring. So we're kind of in a catch-22 at the moment, that we need to invest in some of our folks to get them paramedic certification, but we also need to get some full-time folks and get them locked up so they don't go somewhere else.
The only other thing I would say is that, that the big cash cow, the tip that's generating the most money, is coming to a close. So again, it's very important to me, and I think it should be to all of us, that we have that dedicated income stream, revenue stream to pay for the people that we hire.
Painfully aware of that, and keeping that in our considerations when we do ask for things. I did meet with the administrator and took a look at the budget and made sure that we were asking for requests that could be covered. So
do we need a motion? I didn't see it on here.
Because it's
That's
an
why
item,
the three,
yeah, because this is an item for discussion.
Yeah.
We could have a motion.
but if we're gonna hire them next time, we should create positions prior to that. So, do we need to add it to the agenda first, or just make the motion to add the three?
I think you can make the motion, since it's already an agenda item for discussion. I think you can just make the motion.
So I'd make the motion to authorize 3 additional firefighter positions.
To be hired at our May.
Well, create them, and
Okay.
then we'll hire him when he's ready.
I second Mr. Beckery's motion. Any discussion?
Anything further on that?
no, sir.
Hey, Ms. Schultz, will you call the roll, please?
Trustee Burden?
Yes,
Trustee Harkemaier?
Yes.
Trustee McAdie?
Yes.
that motion passes. Hey, look forward to seeing them come as quickly as possible.
To be at the May meeting.
Thank you. Okay, our next item is items for board discussion, but there's no agenda items for that. So we'll move into communication. Do we have anybody signed up to talk tonight? I think it was just that one gentleman who satisfied and left, okay? The next item is committee reports. TID, Trustee McAbee?
The TIB met yesterday, and we took no votes on any information. We received some updates. The Milliken Road project, the interchange at Milliken, is moving along, and it will continue to move along for a while, but it's making progress. The North Hamilton crossing, there were some replies to our letter.
Okay.
I mean, for months I've complained and shared our opinion on it, and yesterday they had some things to say, finally. And I'm not sure why it was yesterday, but I told them exactly what we thought. We wanted this bottom farm to be left alone. We wanted the residents on this end to be protected, stay as far away as you can, buffer. We want Princeton Road to be brought into the real world as far as 3 lanes, sidewalks, walking path, whatever, those types of things. Probably the most interesting comment was by the engineer, who said that he had a request to go to OKI a couple of years ago for money for that, for Princeton Road. Nothing. So it may be tied into what could be the third phase of the North Hamilton crossing. I guess, like most projects, you're looking for a way to fund the money. The primary public comments time is over. They'll still take comments, and they're compiling the information. The administrator for the TID said that was the most comments he'd seen on any project.
Wow.
So I'm not sure if that's good or bad for the project itself, but I look forward, as I'm sure you guys do, to see the results, the tabulation of yes, no, and maybe so, or however they call them.
If I remember correctly, that project has 3 phases, but it may not be done in numeric order. They may do phase 1, then phase 3, and then go back to phase 2, if I remember that correctly.
That's been stated. There's no additional information on that, and maybe the numbers aren't 1, 2, and 3 the way they were set up.
Yeah.
And again, it's a challenging project for 3 miles of road. It's supposed to be a boulevard style, 4 lanes, some access, not limited access, some access, and it's crossing. It's got all kinds of problems as far as getting from point A to point B. So it'll be, again, interesting to see how that develops. We should have more information in the next 60 days, I would think. We meet again in May, but they didn't give us any idea of what we hear then.
Any questions for Trustee McAfee? All right, thank you very much. The next item is EMA. Trustee Harkemaier.
EMA, I have nothing to report. I'll be attending the OKI meeting on Thursday morning, and the quarterly crowd meeting is in just a couple of weeks.
Okay. Any questions for Trustee Harkemaier? Great. Well, that moves us on to Department Spotlight. Fire Department, Chief Thomas.
So in your packet, there should have been a note section. So I'm going to try and keep this brief because I was told I talked too much. Oh, lots of people. Well, very few. So just some highlights for the fire department. We have changed our deployment to include the 2 additional positions that were authorized. We have placed effective April 1st. Medic 213 is in service and is running 24/7. So we're very pleased with that, and hopefully we'll see a reduction in the number of mutual aid calls that we have to call mutual aid in because we're out of ambulances. So thank you to the trustees for that. I'd like to just shout out to the Fire Prevention Bureau and our Fire Corps. Continue to do a terrific job. Georgia is getting the fire safety inspections up and running, and the Fire Corps is helping us in providing a lot of valuable effort and time when it comes to our public ed events. So we look forward to seeing them out at the Spring Fest and Car Show here in May, and appreciate everything they're doing for us. We just talked about the full-time staff. We did do our SAFER grant, and hope that we'll be able to fund 3 positions with the SAFER grant for a couple years. The next thing I wanted to talk about was apparatus. The board put a $1.5 million line item in the budget for a ladder truck, and due to the delivery time frame, I felt it was inappropriate for the fire chief to try to purchase that and not be here when it showed up. However, in doing some research and talking to some folks, the delivery time on our units is continuing to creep. It started out being 12 months to get an ambulance, and it's now up over 24 months. And the ladder truck is probably fast approaching 36 months. That brings with it some unfortunate circumstances, mainly the price increases. So if you remember what we bought the ambulance for at the beginning of the year, we paid about $260,000. I just received a price quote today. Prices went up to $368,000 for the same unit. So part of that, they're willing to sign contracts. We don't have to necessarily pay them until the truck gets built. We can lock today's pricing so that we can do that and lock in the order, and they can fine tune the order when the new fire chief takes over, and potentially save us several $100,000 in the process. So we wouldn't have to pay, we just would need authorization to enter into contracts. Based on the current ordering and delivery, I feel pretty confident that if the fire chief changed their mind, we'd be able to back out of those contracts and they'd sell those trucks to somebody else. Looking at anywhere between 2 and 4 price increases of 3 to 5% compounded, we stand the chance to save a significant amount of money. The ladder truck, when we first started looking at it, was estimated to be somewhere between $850,000 and $900,000. It's already up over 1.3 and climbing. So I think it would be a mistake if I didn't bring this to the trustees and say that we should consider authorizing contracts with the anticipation that the money for the fire truck is already budgeted. We can certainly budget before the ambulance would be delivered, the $360,000 for an ambulance, and lock those prices in at today's numbers. So that would be something for the board to consider. That would be my recommendation. The other thing is, as far as the department goes, we're ramping up our training, looking to do some officer training and some succession training for our staff as we continue to grow. There may be some opportunities for some staffing and some leadership positions and things within the department. So we want to start making sure that our folks have the right training for that. We continue to watch our budget, and obviously adding another squad is going to increase our potential for income within our EMS billing. So the calls we don't run that we're able to run now, our average income is about $280 a call that we can bill. So we do extremely well on the billing side of things. So hopefully we'll see an increase in the EMS funds with the addition of the additional squad. And the only other thing that the department really is focusing on is meeting the expectations of the community. So we try to maintain close touch with what's going on in the community and participating in events. And we have a lot of business growth, and we have been very active in the construction process and plan review and keeping a close eye on the new things that are going on and making sure they're built according to the codes that makes it safer for everybody that lives in our community and visits. So that is the fire department spotlight, and I think I did record time. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that anybody has.
Any questions for Chief Thomas? I have a question. The ambulance and ladder truck, would they be replacement vehicles?
So the ladder truck was due for replacement in 2022 to get it ordered, with the anticipation it would take 14 months to deliver it. We did not order it for a couple reasons, but so it would replace, and we would remove one of our pieces of fire apparatus to put the new truck in service. Right now, my recommendation would be we keep our current ladder truck as a reserve truck and get rid of the oldest engine. And the ambulance, in the 24 months, we would be due to be a normal replacement ambulance. So it would be part of the normal capital purchases, yes.
So you would replace the ambulance, not keep it as a reserve? But that would be,
yes and no.
That would be the new fire chief.
Depending on the condition of the ambulance at the time, and the fact that we're now running 3 ambulances, I don't know that I object to having 2 backup ambulances instead of just one.
Okay. And then you would have a ladder truck at each station.
Potentially, yes.
Okay.
Again, when all that happens, I won't be making those decisions. That'll be the.
You won't be making those
the fire
decisions,
chief.
but, yeah.
But the plan would be, yes.
Right.
Yes, that the reserve truck is, now that we've moved people around, our Quint is now at Station 212, and the reserve engine is parked over here now. So it would be bringing that truck back as the reserve, getting rid of the oldest engine that we have and putting the new ladder truck at the other station.
And how old is the oldest?
It's 2008. That's the one with the air suspension that has been a maintenance nightmare since the day it was purchased, I think. So, but the Quint is in fairly good condition and mechanically runs very well. We would, if we're going to keep it as a reserve, we'd probably invest in some paint work and some of that stuff and fix the interior that's tearing and those kind of things. But I think it would serve well as a reserve for quite a few years.
So again, maybe we want to have that discussion about going ahead and ordering. Whether we do it now or next month to get the time frame started. We would need to have the money, or at least have it appropriated before we spend it, before we sign the contract, I would assume. So we'd have to designate how we were going to pay for it.
Okay.
Or that we could pay for it.
And the ladder truck funding is
Already on budget.
already identified.
Appropriated.
Truck comes in at 1.2, you'd have 300,000.
So what do we need to do to get that contract where Larry can look at it and we can move on?
We've already requested pricing from 2 ambulance vendors. I have one in hand. I just got a revised one today at $368,000. And I'm waiting on the other, which I expect to have before the next meeting. And the ladder apparatus manufacturing salesperson sent us an email, said, here's the spec that we talked about last time. And he expects it'll take him about a month to get that spec'd out and priced and back to us. So hopefully at the next meeting, we would have both of those available to review. And as soon as I have them in hand, I can send them to the law director.
So is that one price on the ladder truck and 2 on the?
Yes.
I look forward to seeing that.
Yeah, so are we going to ask the chief to bring that before to the next meeting, have pricing?
At least an update where we're at.
Okay.
If you can get to that point, and as soon as he can, get it to Larry and
Okay.
see if we can lock it in. I mean, we can say 3 or 4% times 4 of the $1.3 million. It's something we're going to do anyway.
Right. And in my business right now, not to get off on a tangent, but some of our vendors that we're dealing with, we're ordering things and they can't guarantee the price when they deliver it. So we're kind of hoping that we're going to get around the same price where we are ordering things. And so by locking in the price on a $1.3 million piece of equipment, I'm in favor of, knowing that it was already due to be replaced for today. So I would definitely be in favor of seeing those costs and having it on the agenda for a first read with an option to approve in May. You two are more experienced as trustees, and so I value your opinion. I'd like to hear what you have to say about that.
I'm fine with that. I'd like to make sure that there's a cancellation clause, just in case something happens and we change our mind, but I'm interested in seeing the additional numbers on that.
And I think that also does a couple things. So obviously there will be a replacement fire chief coming in before it's delivered. And he or she may have a different idea about what they want in the fire department. But at the same time, I also think it's attractive to new hire to say, well, I got a board that's already approved. I got new equipment coming in a couple years. So I think that does help us a little bit attracting talent that shows that the board is willing to invest in the fire department.
And they'll be able to adjust the vehicles up until the point where it goes to build.
Okay.
So.
So you understand where we are and you'll have that available
Yes,
to us? And Ms. Schultz, you also work with the fire chief and, because you do a great job of giving us what the financials are. So thank you so much for that work as well. Okay, any other questions for Chief Thomas? I just have a quick comment. I saw that we had a father-son duo working together. That's pretty cool.
Yes, doesn't happen very often that you get two generations, and we had firefighter paramedic Miller and his son, who's one of the ones you're going to hopefully approve a medic scholarship for, on an engine company at a fire over on C in Lincoln today with Hamilton. So
that's pretty neat. Actually, I have a brother and who's a Cincinnati firefighter, and his son just got hired to be a Cincinnati firefighter. They haven't been on runs together, but I thought that was pretty unique, and I'm glad to hear that little old Fairfield Township party has that going on, so that's great.
yeah, back in the days of the volunteers, that was a very common occurrence because it was family-based stuff.
Right.
And once you move to that paid environment, it doesn't happen quite as often, but there are some. I've got uncles and nephews working together, that kind of stuff, some cousins and things, but this was the first father-son.
Not to get up on a big tangent, but how's St. Clair Township doing with their new drive-through they put in?
So the video is running around, and it's absolutely amazing they didn't have more damage to the fire apparatus, because it did not appear that the individual applied any brakes and made a right-hand turn at 50 miles an hour or however fast they were going. But the damage to the fire truck was minimal, but that's the second time that particular garage has had a problem. They backed a fire truck in and put a dent in it a couple years ago, so I think they're going to have to do something with that bag.
Well, thank you, Chief Thomas, for all you do for our community. You are embedded deeply into this community, and we wish you well. We're not saying goodbye now, but these types of things are going to be missed when you leave us. So thank you very much. Okay, the next item on the agenda is fiscal officer's recommendations and reports. Ms. Schultz?
As you all know, the tax settlement came in this week. It is posted. It was $5.782 million. That leaves our cash balance at $23,875,000. And I want to let you know that all the ARP money is spent, so you won't be seeing that fund anymore. So please don't spend no more money from that. And we're still waiting on the RID payment. It's usually a month behind the tax settlements, sometimes a little longer. So I'll be watching for that.
Is it possible to get a single sheet like this showing the new numbers?
Yes, I can do that. You want me to put it in your mailbox?
I'd like to have it as soon as I can.
Okay.
I just wanted to, I wanted to see the breakdown on the first 6-month settlement.
Sure, I can do that. That's all I have.
Any questions for Ms. Schultz?
Would I wait for it, or?
I'll print it and have it to you by the end of the meeting.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay. The next item on the agenda is recommend a motion to suspend readings of the minutes of the following meetings. Trustee regular meeting March 14th and a special emergency meeting on March 31st.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Ms. Schultz, will you call the roll, please?
Trustee Birding?
Yes,
Trustee Harkemaier?
Yes.
Trustee McAbey?
Yes, motion to adopt.
and that motion passes. I will second Trustee McAbee's motion to adopt. Any questions or comments? Ms. Schultz, you call the roll, please.
Trustee Burden?
Yes,
Trustee Harkemaier?
Yes.
Trustee McAbey?
Yes.
and that motion passes.
Motion to pay the bill?
Second?
Any questions or comments? Ms. Schultz, will you call the roll, please?
Trustee Burden?
Yes,
Trustee Harkemaier?
Yes.
Trustee McAbey?
Yes.
and that motion passes. Next item on the agenda is administrator report. Mrs. Vonderhaar?
Thank you. The only things I have today, the library did receive the lot split, which is now being recorded, so that project continues forward. And one piece of legislation that we shared out with the public, as of April 4th, it's illegal to use or hold a cell phone or electronic device. And the information on that can be found at phonesdown.ohio.gov. That's all I have unless there's any questions.
But just to be clear, while operating a motor vehicle.
Correct, yeah, oh, sorry, yes, sorry,
Yeah,
yeah.
granted, your cell phone ain't working.
No, well, yes, and there's exceptions, and so it's better for people to go in and read up and know the law.
And that was great that you put that out on social media right away. So thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Any questions for Mrs. Vonderhaar? Just a quick update. Could you give us an update on the veterans? Are you meeting with them soon?
Well, we met last Wednesday and we're meeting tomorrow, and let's see, it was a 2-hour meeting, and,
Did Fred come along? Mrs.
not,
Harris?
no, Fred would never. They are working on the dedication.
Okay.
And talking about the plaques, and the biggest part was how they're going to plan the whole program and what roles each of you would play and who the speakers are and whatnot. And then tomorrow, they have requested that Chief Shabali attend to help with different logistics, since we won't be having the parade on a school day. The route may change them. We won't have the kids lined up, so Chief Shabali will be there to provide some input, and then we meet tomorrow.
And coming right along, and things are moving, and
They are, and the Spring Fest car show, all the proceeds from that event, that's all going to benefit the Veterans Committee, and I don't think we told them that yet, so I'll let them know tomorrow, but that's another positive. I just met with Chief Thomas and some of the fire today to go over that event. It's going to be fun. It's turning into a big affair, and we're working with Fairfield North and East, so we're excited.
fantastic. Any other questions for Mrs. Vonderhaar? Okay, thank you. We have no motions today, so we'll move on to resolutions. May we have the first resolution, please?
Resolution 2352, approving open purchase order balances.
Motion to adopt?
Second?
Any questions or comments? Mr. Schultz, will you call the roll, please?
Trustee Burden?
Yes,
Trustee Harkemaier? Yes. Trustee McAbey?
Yes.
that resolution's adopted. Can we have the next resolution, please?
Resolution 2353, approving payment to Sedgwick in the amount of $8,020. This is Fairfield Township's third-party administrator for workers' comp.
Motion to adopt?
Second?
Any questions or comments? Mr. Schultz, will you call the roll, please?
Trustee Burden?
Yes,
Trustee Harkemaier? Yes. Trustee McAbey?
Yes.
that motion's adopted. May we have the next resolution, please?
Resolution 2354, authorizing the purchase of a 2023 Marathon Premier Hot Mix Transporter at a total cost of $37,755 to come out of Fund 2021.
Motion to adopt?
Second?
Any questions or comments?
Delivery time, Mr. Bennett?
That's great. All right, Ms. Schultz, will you call the roll, please?
Trustee Burden?
Yes,
Trustee Harkemaier? Yes. Trustee McAbey?
Yes.
that resolution's adopted. Can we have the next resolution, please?
Resolution 2355, dispersing $640,000 $40,989.80 from the Tax Increment Financing Fund numbers 2904, 2906, and 2908 for distribution of the TIF monies collected to Fairfield City School District.
Motion to adopt?
Second. Any questions or comments?
And if I'm reading this right, we received in the Princeton Road TIF, we received $1.9 million.
I can check that real quick if you'd like. Yes, 1955-93414.
And what was our total settlement?
5782984. 5.8.
So out of the 5.8, 1.9 was right here.
Yes.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Schultz. Will you call the roll, please?
Yes, Trustee Burden?
Yes,
Trustee Harkemaier? Yes. Trustee McAdie?
Yes.
that resolution is adopted. May we have the next resolution, please?
Resolution 2356, an emergency resolution providing authority to the Township Law Director to execute the subdivision and special district settlement participation forms for the Teva, Allergen, CVS, Walgreens, and Walmart settlement participation agreements pursuant to the One Ohio Memorandum of Understanding and placing any received funds in the Township's One Ohio Fund.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Somebody want to explain it?
This is another one of the opioid settlements, the national opioid settlements. There were a couple of previous ones, and Ohio has opted into the settlements, and a number of the townships, villages, et cetera, in Ohio are applying to receive a portion of the funds, and this has to be submitted on or before April 18th.
Any other questions? Ms. Schultz, will you call the roll, please?
Trustee Burden?
Yes,
Trustee Harkemaier? Yes. Trustee McAdie?
Yes.
You have the exhibits there.
and that resolution is adopted.
Signed by Kate. She signed all the motions and everything.
I bet Diane kept them because they're not attached.
Make sure they get attached.
Okay.
Because we have to send them in with, and it's all done electronically. We'll give it tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you. May we have the next resolution, please?
Resolution 2357, awarding paramedic tuition payment to firefighter EMT Dominic Hunter at a cost not to exceed $10,000.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Ms. Schultz, will you call the roll, please?
Trustee Burden?
Yes,
Trustee Harkemaier? Yes. Trustee McAdie?
Yes.
that resolution is adopted. May we have the next resolution, please?
Resolution number 2358, awarding paramedic tuition payment to firefighter EMT Mason Miller at a cost not to exceed $10,000.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Ms. Schultz, will you call the roll, please?
Trustee Burden?
Yes,
Trustee Harkemaier? Yes. Trustee McAdie?
Yes.
that resolution is adopted. May we have the next resolution, please?
Resolution 2359, awarding paramedic tuition payment to firefighter EMT Aaron Foley at a cost not to exceed $10,000.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Any questions or comments on that? Ms. Schultz, will you call the roll, please?
Trustee Burden?
Yes,
Trustee Harkemaier? Yes. Trustee McAdie?
Yes.
that resolution is adopted. May we have the next resolution, please?
Resolution 2360, awarding paramedic tuition payment to firefighter EMT Jada Murphy at a cost not to exceed $10,000.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Ms. Schultz, will you call the roll, please?
Trustee Burden?
Yes,
Trustee Harkemaier? Yes. Trustee McAdie?
Yes.
that resolution is adopted. May we have the last resolution, please?
Resolution 2361, declaring nuisance and ordering abatement on the properties listed below and further authorizing the zoning administrator to initiate complaint. Property 7626 Bridgewater Lane for unregistered vehicle, inoperable vehicles, junk, and debris.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Ms. Schultz, will you call the roll, please?
Trustee Burden?
Yes,
Trustee Harkemaier? Yes. Trustee McAdie?
Yes.
And that resolution is adopted. Announcements. Bridgewater Falls 2023 Walking Club is Tuesday, April 4th and Thursday, April 6th from 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. The annual Spring Cleanup Day for township residents only is Saturday, April 29, 2023 from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Fairfield Township Board of Trustees meeting Tuesday, May 9th, 2023 at 7 p.m. right here at the Township Administration Building. Spring Fest and Car Show is Saturday, May 13th, 2023 at Heroes Park, and that's an all-day event. And so the car show is from 9 a.m. to 3:30, and Spring Fest is 11 a.m. all day. And I believe that is like their carnival. They used to have a carnival
Yes.
inside, but now it's going to be all part of that Spring Fest.
Yes, the schools and the PTSO, the PTA, I don't know what they call it next door, but PTC.
You're close.
It changes, but, so that at the PTC and the two schools in the township, they'll hold the carnival, they'll have games, we'll have our bounce houses, food trucks, vendors, there will be face painting, and then everything will eventually lead into the movie Cars, which is so clever on the fire department's part since there's a car show.
Great.
I just thought that was great. So, yeah, so it's an all day, all night.
That's great.
All night.
All day, all night.
We're partying.
Okay, board member comments. Trustee McAfee,
No, thank you.
Trustee Harkemaier.
Not tonight.
I just want to thank Mr. Goins for all your work getting signs out about the spring cleanup. I've seen them. I'm sure Mr. Bennett had something to do with that, and Mrs. Montehart, but I have seen them, and that's great. I like the idea that we are having it the final Saturday of the month going forward, so our residents know every year, the final Saturday in April, we're going to have a spring cleanup so they can prepare for it year after year. So I think that's great.
He's been challenged each year to add something, so this year the shredding was added.
Oh, great. Fantastic. Okay, with that being said, I move to adjourn.
Second,
Any questions or comments? Mrs. Schultz, will you call the roll, please?
trustee Birdie?
Yes,
Trustee Harkemaier? Yes. Trustee McAbey?
Yes.
that motion passes. We adjourn at 7:52 p.m. Thank you all for coming out tonight.
Good to see everybody.
Great, I could go back to work sooner. Oh, I do need it in a minute. Yep, and I've already texted her, because you send it, but I'm gonna-